Put This On, Season 7, Episode 20, where we watch Van Gogh, Season 1, Episode 4, kinda, and Season 2, Episode 7. And I'm Chris Lorenz.
It's strip day. I'm Brian.
I'm Max.
We didn't give you the heads up on the quip, did we?
A, that, and B, I don't think there was that much quotable stuff in the show.
If those are references to the show we watched this week. If this is your first time listening, watch a different show each week and discuss it in minute detail. But last week we watched Special Forces: World's Toughest Test, and we put up a poll on Twitter to see what you guys thought, and you guys thought it was a top third show. So you disagreed.
What is wrong with our listeners?
Disagreed with us, which is okay, but please tweet at us and tell us what you liked about it.
Is it okay though?
We are disappointed in all of you.
And we do have a friend, sometimes host of the show, James. He loved it, so he would definitely put it in the top third.
No.
So he might have voted on this poll. So James, come on the podcast and speak for yourself here, okay? We need to know. Our audience needs to hear this dissenting opinion.
Okay. I was gonna save this for like the end, but I did dip into episode 3 just to see if it was any better, and it actually was.
You got to start out with the strongest, Brian.
I know.
You can't start out with the weakest.
I know that there's a whole mess of things. Like, first off, when I went to Hulu to go watch that, I was like, oh, they split up that 2-hour madness into 2 episodes like it should have been to go from the get-go.
That's true. We did have a problem with it being 2 hours long. Anyway, listen to our episode to see our thoughts on it. I think you got kind of spoiled there what we thought of the show. But, Brian, what show did we watch this week?
This week we watched Van Gogh. Not the artist. Like Van Gogh. Chewy Design Company owner Brett Lewis renovates vans into tiny homes on the road, innovating creative solutions and tackling the many challenges that come with custom outfitting each vehicle for his clients' lifestyles. That's Van Gogh.
Thank you, Brian. So we decided to watch the show because on Netflix, I realized that they had more of their tiny house show. I think it was Tiny House Living or Tiny House Nation. I forget. And I love people watching in tiny house shows because like these people are like, I got 2 kids. I want to go tiny, but I need a 60-inch TV and a pool and I need 80 shoes. Figure it out. And it's just like crazy people. And it's so good. So we looked up tiny house shows, and this was the most recent tiny house show, Van Gogh. It's on HBO Max and Discovery Plus for our Discovery heads out there. Soon to be 1, maybe. Soon to be Max. As I look at Max when I say
yes,
that.
hello.
So we watched this Van Gogh show. And we're going to talk first about season 2, episode 7, because this is the episode Noah Singer picked. And Brian, pray tell what happened in this fucking episode. Who are the clients?
Steve and Pam.
And how old were they?
I have absolutely no idea.
They're like 75 years old. They're retired. They just want their van to have a bigger bed.
They have a 1981 Volkswagen Westphalia. And yeah, they don't really have that many complaints with it besides like it looks old and they want like 6 inches more on their bed. The requirements
are
are
bigger bed. What kind of people watching is this episode of television? Nothing.
These were some very reasonable, not crazy asks. And yeah, that's the whole you got it right there. Everybody's very reasonable, and that's boring. That's boring reality television.
It was so boring. These people are like, I want a bigger bed. oh, and I'd love to store more shit, like everyone. Like, obviously,
Yep.
want to store more shit. It's just like, I don't want to see people get more cabinets. Like, that's silly.
I mean,
So, like, it fails right away with that aspect. And I don't blame them for like the 17th episode of the show to kind of have like, you know, old retired couple in a van. Like, I'm sure there's might be old retired people that would care about that, and that could be interesting to them. But as an episode of TV, I'm looking at 20 episodes of the show, and I'm like, that's the one I want. I want to watch the retired couple with a classic van. Like, that's not the one I want to watch. Spoiler alert, we watched that episode. Then we watched season 1, episode 4, which was a family of 5. And they wanted 4 beds in that thing. That was way more entertaining.
did they succeed?
Yeah, there's 4
Wow.
beds in that thing.
Wild.
Except the like 12-year-old daughter can't grow at all. She can only be 4 foot. Then she doesn't fit in her bed.
Just get like a U-Haul for her behind.
Yeah. I mean, it was so much more interesting. Like, how do you fit storage for a family of 5 in a van? And they got a kitchen. Like, how do you store the utensils for all that? These are amazing questions to answer while you're watching the show. And you're like, who are these people? Crazy people? At least in a tiny house show, they're like not, they don't have a regular house. They're just living in it. And like, that's insane for most people. So it's entertaining to watch. But these people are just traveling in this van. But even still, like, where are you going to go?
The
What
world's
do
their
you mean?
oyster,
I
Chris.
mean, all sorts of people go camping in their vans.
It's just like 5 people and the amount of stuff you need.
Yeah.
Like, sure. Like, it makes the couple that was retired go 100%. 2 people in a van, comfortable living. You know, 5 people in a van is down by the river, not going to be great.
Yep. Do we want to go over the happenings of each episode? Because I'm not really sure there's that much to cover. At least for
Yeah.
We could just
season
go
two.
over some minutia. I don't know. What did
Well,
I write down?
First off, who's making these modifications? Who is our host?
Brad Lewis.
I think it's Brett.
I wrote Brad. So
Well,
Is
what's
that
it like being wrong?
This is how much you paid attention to this show.
I think it's an autocorrect, Brian.
I know.
How do you spell Brett?
B-R-E-T-T.
Oh, double T. Okay.
Yep.
Well, the show starts out with a giant paper airplane bit. Okay.
All of these shows, all of these, we all build motorcycles together or whatever. The directors try and get them to do something, fun and relatable and not part of the core part of the show, and it never works. It is always god awful. And I would say that's very true in this episode.
This episode, so they do these bits, and like the main Brett cannot act, and then his second hand man really cannot act. So
his Chumley,
the 2 of them are terrible together, and this whole episode isn't carried by the clients, so it's carried by these 2 jokels. They can't act, and they're doing these bits, and they're so bad. I was like, halfway through this episode, I was like, Brian, I wish we had that 2x thing Max says, because this show needs 2x.
in its defense, it was only 24 minutes.
In its
Not
defense,
120 minutes like certain other garbage shows.
in its defense, spoiler alert, it could be a TikTok, and it would be better.
I definitely had the thought, this feels like an extended YouTube video.
Yeah.
So yeah, this couple comes in with their VW Westy van, and they come in. These are their asks. They want more storage, they want updated electronics, and they want a wider bed. I want to know who greenlit this episode, because they need to be fired.
I mean, it was just a cute one. That's it. You get a feel good one. It's like, oh, everybody's dreaming of this.
The one thing I found hilarious was at the end, they added, so they wanted outlets. So they added just like cigarette lighter outlets. And I was like, their request was updated electronics, not your garbage cigarette outlet.
Yeah,
They're
he
like,
said
oh,
he
you
was
could
a
just
tech.
you could install a converter. I'm like, yeah, they won actual AC circuit because that's what they're used to. No one sells DC shit. It's so. I thought that was hilarious.
Agreed.
To be fair, there was no budget for this, so in
That's true. The second episode had a budget, but didn't explain it at all.
no, that there was just no sense
There,
of
there's
that.
no sense of like, okay, you want this, this, and this. This will cost you this. This will cost like the, you know, any other show where they're making stuff and telling you what they want, right?
Mhm.
We'll have all this stuff. None of it.
Wild.
It's just wild. It's, I think at
Yeah.
the end I was pretty impressed with the sink stovetop thing.
That was the last thing I was going to mention about this episode. Absolutely, it is a sink that has a thing that folds down, and the thing that folds down is just an electric stovetop. Then you can fold it up once you're done. It's crazy. It's great. It's
That
phenomenal.
was that was wild. It's a way to have a kitchen in literally 1 foot.
Like, I want to see more of that shit. I want to see like cool solutions they have for living in such a small spot.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like
Right.
this show is literally all those garbage bits, and I'm just like,
There's they get like a minute and a half out of a bit where one guy says to the other guy, "If you don't move this, you're fired."
oh
Yeah.
yeah, damn it!
It
I
was-
told Brian we should have started the show with that bit, like, just like read it
It was
verbatim
really
as
bad.
terrible acting.
All right, that's about it for episode.
Yeah.
Season 2,
So-
episode 7.
So Tiny House Nation was the show I was watching earlier,
Okay.
and we've done it on the pod, I think, like a long time
We've
ago.
done
It's on
some sort
Netflix.
of tiny house.
It's on Netflix, and I think that's what we watched. And the two people run that show, like they really love tiny houses, and they make cool, crazy stuff for tiny houses. And we're watching these two guys do fucking bits with paper airplanes and saying he's fired if he doesn't do his job. Like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
Those bits were just bad. There's no defense for them.
There's no defense for that. Absolutely none. That's all. They spent like, I think, a good third of this show talking about CNCing these cabinets. They're like, yeah, we're going to the CNC shop. We got a man on the computer. We got me playing with my computer, some solitaire, and we got the guy putting the wood on the CNC thing. It's just like, what? Who do you think you are? You think you're
Yeah.
Dwayne Johnson here? This is terrible.
Would Dwayne Johnson have made this better?
1,000,000%. A million.
Can that be a new question we add to the question pool?
Sure. Will Dwayne Johnson make this better? Because it doesn't necessarily make it better.
No.
We've seen the Titan games or whatever.
Yup.
I
He makes
mean-
everything else better but his own shows.
Have you heard some of the drama around him at Warner Brothers Studios?
No.
I'll give it to
Well,
you nice and
I
quick
did
and
hear
easy.
some, yeah.
Long story short, he thought that his brand and Black Adam could become like, their lead superhero for some Justice League shit since Henry Cavill was out. And he was like going around, basically trying to talk to all the bigwigs at Warner Brothers, and nobody wanted this. And sure enough, Black Adam fails, and now he's donezo.
Well, he went around like the head of DC to the head of Warner Brothers.
Right.
To get Henry Cavill in the last movie, spoilers. And it still bombed because it wasn't very good.
Wow.
Anyway, I thought at the end of the day, the van did look pretty nice. Like, I think they do good work. They
Oh,
had
yeah.
like a pretty nice floor, pretty good setup. It still had a toilet that they wanted for no reason. I thought it was fine. And the couple was happy and we all move on with our day.
I completely agree. I think that it was a very nice design, and the CNC machine worked despite them not checking it after it's done.
That's true. They did try to set up that storyline.
Yeah, and that just went nowhere, like everything else in the show.
Just like everything, like the baby airplane. So then I was like, we watched that episode, and to be honest, did not like it.
No,
And then I was like, Brian, should we watch another one? He's like, hell no. And then I was looking around, I'm like, oh, this Family of Five. What about that? And I had to put it on. So we watched this Family of Five. And it's just like, for a guy to look at another guy and like straight in his eyes and flat out not laugh and say, I want 4 beds in this raid van, and just like be 100% serious, is just so funny to me. It's just like, how you get 4 beds in that thing? How is that gonna work?
I mean, like every other tiny house show, it's like it's very nicely like
It's very janky and very breakable. It looked hella uncomfortable.
oh yeah, there's no cushion on any of those things.
Yeah. So the requirements are 4 beds, and they need 5 god damn it, seatbelts.
Yeah.
So at the end of this thing, they get the 5 seatbelts. None of them have the strap over the shoulder, which I'm pretty sure is illegal to sell a new car without that. So I don't know. I don't know the legality of these things in general. And literally 2 of these seats had no cushion. It was literally carpet. How far are you going in a carpet seat in a van? Like 10 miles? And you're like, I gotta get out of here. Like your butt's gonna be screaming at you in 45 minutes.
Oh yeah. Seems
It
bad.
looked rough. It was just like the bare minimum, and like they made it happen. Congrats.
I wouldn't even want to sleep on that carpet part. Like who wants to sleep on carpet? This is garbage.
Better than wood, I guess, but still, yeah, like it's just it met the requirements. That's all you can say.
The requirements are insane.
It's probably good for your back. A nice
It's
flat
like
surface.
it's like when Kramer fixes your back pain. Yeah, so they get the Family 5. There's really only real 2 requirements. And we were watching this whole thing, and I'm like, how do you fit storage for 5 people in this van? Like that seems like a lot of storage. Like you need a lot of storage. And the end, they open up the trunk. There was a lot of storage. I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, I mean this van is very tall. It's not getting into most garages, but it can really like move around if you're just outside all the time.
Yeah. So the way the configuration of this bed works, to paint you some sort of picture, is that they have a like full bed loft kind of thing. So in the back, underneath under half the bed, that bed is storage. Then along the side, there's a bed on the left and there's a bed on the right. And they all kind of go along the van. But then the 4th bed, Brian, is above the left side bed there and goes out for a 4-foot tall person.
Yeah,
That looks not safe.
It definitely looks just like a drawer, but like you do not go in the drawer.
It's like when you watch Step Brothers and they're like, can we turn our beds into bunk beds so we can have so much room for activities? But the so much room for activities here is you get a bed versus not having a bed. And like it looks stronger than that, but if that thing fails, gonna be problems.
I feel like you could fix this with just some legs that like swing up underneath the thing, and then they swing down like when you pull it out.
I mean, it's a pretty rigid structure. I thought. I just like
Yeah.
it's kind of janky when you just like pull thing out like that. It's not like it's not on a hinge or anything.
Yeah.
But like you probably wouldn't want it to be on a hinge either. But like you could lock it in somehow. It's just kind of weird because you'll be sleeping like there's just so many. You're just sleeping around so many people. This is nuts.
Yeah.
Now, Max, does that episode sound more entertaining than the episode you watched?
You want me to be completely honest with you? it still sounds boring. Like, yeah, okay, it sounds
Yeah.
better, but better than 0 is like, okay, cool, it's a 1. Great.
I'm just gonna tell you, Max, that the 4 or 5 smile, like to 10 smiles, I think I got out of watching that episode was way more than the 0 smiles. I
Okay,
got out of
okay,
the
you
episode
got
we
some
watched.
smiles.
And I think that a couple smiles goes a long way for a show, especially one like this.
Okay. Hey,
One
I'm
of
glad you had a good time.
one of the biggest things in this episode, second episode, was like it's much lower budget, and they do this transition where they would just like kind of fade to black, and it looked really weird. And every time Brian and I saw it, we just laughed.
Yeah, there were some hard cuts.
It's just like it was like fade to black, stay there for a second, and come back, and it's just like it was weird. I don't know why it was so funny. I don't know enough about TV making that this was funny, but it was funny. And I think that's my last comment for this show.
Yeah, should we move on to questions?
Who's the worst human being?
Maybe
I'm gonna say it's the 12-year-old who has to live in that 4-foot.
Oh yeah,
4-foot
that
bed.
kid was the only one that was like really jammed about this.
I think the
I don't-
kids actually were excited about this. They really,
One of
the
them was.
producers did a great job of hyping these kids up for this fan. I think. You know what I think it is, Brian? I think it is whoever took the dog between season 1 and season 2, because that dog, man, you get some good shots of that dog. I want to know more about that dog, and there was no dog in season 2.
Chris, what if the worst person is Chumley /
possible.
the assistant?
Wrong show, but yeah.
He's the Chumley of the show.
He kind of is.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't know how this show got a season 2.
I mean,
really don't.
I can tell you what's up here. A, insanely cheap to film. B, van life had a serious like interest spike during the COVID years. It's now like definitely on the downturn, but yeah, you know, all these millennials were like, cool, I'm gonna live in a van. And HBO said, yeah, let's make a show about that.
Gonna live in a van down by the river. Do you think this is the apex for our van life host, Mr. Brett Lewis?
Absolutely. Making your own TV show and just like getting paid to like mess around with stuff that you don't have. Great.
I'm doing a Google search briefly, and I'm not even sure he has an IMDb. So it seems like
Seems possible.
Seems likely, I think, for him to be. I don't know what's wrong with my phone right now, but Google's really messed up. Brett Lewis is known for Zoo Family. Different Brett Lewis. All right, forget it.
I mean, yeah, season 1 though had some funnier bits too. That could have been how it got to season 2.
Well, there's less of them, and
Yeah.
they're from like shockingly bad to like like you didn't add anything. You're detracting a little bit because you're wasting my time, but I'm not offended. So yeah, let's do drinking rules because I think we're gonna need a couple. And I think every time you are think the Chumley of the group is a bad actor, he like does a bad line. Take a drink.
Sure.
Brian.
Every time you see a drawer open, take a drink.
Well, that's a good one. Cabinet drawer and like a pull-out drawer.
Yeah, why not both?
Max.
Every time you see something in the construction that maybe doesn't look quite right, take a drink.
Anytime you think you won't sit on that, take a drink. Brian.
Every time you see a saw being used, drink.
Saw.
Yeah.
I think
Every
anytime
time-
they get the computer wizard and mention computers, take a drink or electronics. Max.
Every time they mention 12 volts, take a drink.
That's good. That's a
We
good one.
you get a lot of good drinking rules out of this, though.
Yeah, these are probably some of our best in a while, and they're pretty unique to the show. Uh, would this show be better as a Quibi or TikTok? And I want to know, Brian, TikTok, Quibi, regular show, rank them.
I would say TikTok is best, followed by Quibi, followed by this show. And I honestly, when you mentioned Quibi, thought about going to TikTok and finding van life construction stuff. Like I could easily see 3 minutes watching that, good to go.
I could see like 30 TikToks, 3 minutes a piece, being infinitely more entertaining than this.
Yeah.
Because they're like show you like 3 minutes of them putting in a light socket or something, and that seems pretty entertaining. And then like as they construct their van, 3 minutes at a time. Max, would you agree that it's TikTok, Quibi, then full show?
I think this is a 5-minute YouTube.
So
That-
you're
yeah.
saying it's a Quibi?
Yes, maybe it's a Quibi.
Yeah.
Acceptable.
I would say like a TikTok, we can go as a minute, and we could go Quibi would be 5 to 8 minutes, and then you got 24 minutes. Those are your options.
Yeah.
And I think a TikTok is the right amount of time for this. Like a 1 to 3 minute video of like, here's our client, here's how it looked, this is what they wanted, here's the results. Just cut out all the middleman cruft. Be in for that. Who's gonna hook up next?
Everybody in the new van, baby.
I didn't know where that question was gonna go, and I am pleasantly surprised. All right, all right, Max, prepare for this one.
Well,
What do you love? What do you love about the show?
I like Volkswagen vans, so yeah, I liked that. How's that?
That's great. I loved it. What I love about the show is definitely the people watching. I love to see people and what they prioritize in a tiny ass space. And that to me is why we watch the show. And I think the show definitely helps, but not every episode. Brian?
I think I like some of the construction that they've been doing, like some of the restoration stuff. It looks really, really nice after they do it again, and just makes it feel like just a brand new home.
All right. Sure. Let's do ratings. So we do a stack ranking system between other reality shows, between top, middle, and bottom third. Brian, what do you got for me?
I need to put this at the top of the bottom because it wasn't like completely offensive, but and it's close to like being a background show where I just kind of see the end result, but I'm probably not going to start it again.
Max?
Top of the bottom. It's certainly better than bottom of the bottom, which was Play-Doh Squished, and it's probably better than Special Ops: The Line, whatever.
Special Forces.
Did you ever play that game? It's a good game. Spec
I
Ops: The
heard of
Line.
it. I don't think I've ever played it. Man, I really want to put this show in the middle because, as I said, I really love the people watching. But this dude Brett is so bad. Like it cannot happen, and I am shocked it got a season 2. I just don't know how you watch the show and be like, "Yep, we're good," but it must be cheap as all hell. Is all I have to say to make this thing. So I'll agree. It's top of the bottom. You can unanimous top of the bottom. Our first triple unanimous with a rating and a rating.
We did. Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I was about to say.
I mean, we've definitely had unanimous bottom thirds, to be clear.
Yeah.
But I don't usually do the stack ranking and the stack ranking, but I think for this one, we'll put it there.
Hooray.
Hooray! So this weekend went to Vegas, bet on the foosballs. Brian and I cleaned up.
Yeah,
We made lots of money.
good choices all around.
Max, how's it going?
Okay. Been a little sick, not COVID, just other stuff.
You making out with random girls at the bar?
Not really.
That'd be
I
a
went
good
to-
excuse to be sick.
I went to the opera for the first time since I was 10. It sucks. Wouldn't recommend. La Traviata, very boring.
It was in Italian.
Yes, but every seat has a little like closed caption machine in front of it, and it has like one of those laptop privacy screens, so you can't see everybody else's screen. It's kind of cool.
No.
And then I have a question. How does it sync to the music or to the?
Oh, it's perfect. There's gotta be a person there clicking every time, but you
You
can
think so?
choose between English, Spanish, German, and Italian.
Or are they just like that good that they're always on time?
Anything's possible, Chris. But it was live music, all that jazz.
Yeah, sure. That I mean, it's so weird going to a play or a musical and having to read subtitles, which is
Yeah.
essentially what you did.
Yeah.
It's weird. Brian, how are you?
Good. I watched The Last of Us.
I
How
too
was it?
watched The Last of Us.
Thought it was pretty good.
I did not watch The Last of Us because I was kind of hungover on the plane, and I was like, I can't take the tone of this show right now. It's like I got to be ready. Like
Yeah.
I got to be like tip top shape to watch The Last of Us, especially the premiere. Like I played the game and I love the game, the first one at least. I think the second one is not good. Mainly because the story goes in a direction I certainly wouldn't have gone. But the first one is so good, so I think the show is going to be great. But we'll see.
I liked episode 1 a lot.
Is it an hour long?
No, it's longer, but
It's
so get ready.
80
But
minutes.
I thought it was like a long one. I on the plane instead watched The Witcher First Blood or Blood something.
Blood Oath.
Blood
Yeah.
Oath. Yeah. So it's 4 episodes. I don't think it's as bad as people are saying it is, but it's not particular. It's like fine. Give it a solid 2.5 or 3 out of 5, like right in the middle. Like it's not really worth recommending, but I didn't hate it. I thought it was fun to see like how the Witcher world became what it is, because it does explain something which I was not expecting, which was kind of cool. But you only really need to watch like the last 15 minutes to get that of 4 episodes. But so I wouldn't really recommend Max watching it because he'd be very critical. But Brian,
Okay.
you might like it.
all right, maybe we'll check it out.
Max, you have any shout outs before we go?
Not really. No. Haven't been consuming that much media. Been watching
Everyone-
Taskmaster.
Which season?
I don't even remember. 9, 10?
I just got to the episode we did for the podcast, and Max, I'm still kind of upset with you for picking that episode
I'm
because it's
sorry.
a very bottom third mediocre episode of Taskmaster.
Was it the one about meat?
No,
I
it was
don't
the one where they go and have to hit a bag, kick a bag into a goal.
I don't
And they
remember this at all.
And they give what's her name, her own task to hide a giant ball, which is probably the most memorable thing about that episode.
Chris, ultimately, the right thing happened, which is you guys are obsessed with the show.
Yeah.
I stand by my choice. Deal with it.
You could do whatever you want, but not everyone on that podcast loves Taskmaster. That's all I have to say about that.
You got the key players though.
You got everyone on right now. So go watch Taskmaster. Or better yet, go watch Tiny House Nation. That's a way better show than the show. And it's twice as long. So you know that I must like that show.
Do you think little Alex Horn lives in a little house?
Oh, I hope so.
It took me so long to realize that he's just little in comparison to to Greg. He's like a tall person. He's still 6 foot tall. but like Greg is like 6'6" or something, and he just like that's why he looks smaller. And I find that pretty funny. Anyway,
Whoa. 15th of November, 2022. Comedian Alex Horn on his new sitcom, The Horn Section.
Ooh, whoa.
all right, maybe that's our next episode. You know, sometime we need to change it up.
This is
Anyway.
wild. It's filmed live from his own family home, but like it's a sitcom.
That is a
like
great reality show.
like a Nathan filler kind of thing.
Are you confusing Nathan Fillion with Nathan Fielder?
Yeah, I definitely am. All right.
It's
We're
easy.
we're getting out of here.
Yeah.
Follow us on Twitter. Tell us what you thought about the show at Who Be the Son. Find us on Facebook.com/WhoBeTheSon. Email us questions and suggestions at whobetheson@gmail.com, and tweet at us and tell James to get on the podcast. He'll listen to you. Just tweet at us, yell at him. And we'll see you guys next time.